What's up, Transformers fans? Mondo here, and for this Moonbase 84 transmission, we're talking about issue 32 of the Skybound Transformers comic. I do have to apologize before we jump into the issue at hand, however, because back when I shared my thoughts on issue 30, I said that I would have videos covering the story arcs thus far in the Transformers comic, and have not done so yet. I'm still working on that, and will start to get those up as soon as I can. But for now, I just want to talk about issue 32. So if you haven't checked it out yet and don't want to be spoiled, I wouldn't watch the rest of this video. Now, how many channels on YouTube tell you not to watch their videos? I bet not many. But if you are caught up with the issue 32 or don't mind spoilers, please watch away and then comment to share your thoughts on the issue. For context on my thoughts on issue 32, I think I should recap my thoughts on issue 30. That is the issue where Optimus Prime relinquishes the Matrix to Elita 1, making her Elita Prime and the new leader of the Autobots. The gist of my thoughts on that was, I don't mind Robert Kirkman switching things up a bit, but the execution of it was very rushed and handled extremely poorly. Issue 30 ends with Elita Prime leaving Earth via Shockwave Space Bridge with a bunch of Autobots from Earth in tow to get back into the fight against the Decepticons on Cybertron. We don't see Elita or her troops in issue 31, so we had to wait until issue 32, which starts with them arriving on Cybertron via the aforementioned space bridge. The problem being is that because the space bridge was shockwaves, the Autobots are behind enemy lines and must sneak their way out back to safety. As they start to make their way through Decepticon territory, Elita warns the Autobots that the journey will be perilous when she's interrupted by Shockwave and a band of Decepticons. This is shocking to Elita because she thought Shockwave was dead, and of course she would assume that because she watched the then Optimus Prime pull a Megatron a while back and crush Shockwave's head with his bare hands. Noticing Elita's reaction, Shockwave offers, "I'm held together with hatred and spite, you can't crush that," which I thought is pretty funny. He then orders his troops to open fire. It's also important to note that although he still functions, Shockwave is definitely worse for wear. He is severely damaged and missing an arm. What I find quite comical is that he's also missing a head. All he has is his eye tethered to his body by some wiring and such. Getting back to the action, the Decepticons quickly overwhelm the outmatched Autobots, and the still offline Bumblebee gets blasted apart almost to pieces with their first salvo. Realizing that something has to be done and quick, Ultra Magnus says his people need him and transforms and has the Autobots load onto him. As Shockwave barks orders to the Decepticons, Ultra Magnus plows into them, the fight now becoming up close and personal. Unfortunately, the Decepticons continue to wipe the floor with them. Elita watches her team being massacred in horror and turns to the Matrix to light their darkest hour. She tries to open it, but it won't budge. In anger, she punches the Matrix, and to her shock, it lights up with its power and becomes what she calls the Ghost of the Star Saber. Wielding the Ghost of the Star Saber, Elita Prime single-handedly cuts through the Decepticons, literally. She commands the Autobots to gather their fallen brethren and flee. Shockwave rallies the Decepticons that are still standing to attack and stop the Autobots from escaping, but to no avail. As he watches the Autobots get away, Shockwave declares that the new battle lines are being drawn, and that it's time to visit Alpha Trion, which surprised me. Who knows what state he's in being in the clutches of Shockwave. So that is how issue 32 ends, and I definitely have some thoughts. Let's start with the good. The Decepticons that were introduced in this issue was a very pleasant surprise. We see animated Lugnut and Black Arachnia, along with the Transformers Prime Knockout, Breakdown, and Skyquake. G1 Octane and Sunstorm are there as well, but I am definitely the most excited by the non-G1 characters though. It's great to see that Skybound is willing to go past G1, and of course they did this with Bulkhead joining the Autobot cast as well. The mention of Alpha Trion is very interesting to me, and I can't wait to see what Kirkman is going to do with him. As for the bad, I have a problem with Elita busting out the Ghost of the Star Saber. As I said at the top of the video, I don't have a problem with mixing things up and having Elita be Prime, but the execution of that within the story was atrocious. To me, Alita now getting the ability seemingly out of the blue to wield this Ghost of the Star Saber is nonsense. For starters, within the context of the Energon Universe Transformers comics, I don't think Optimus has ever been granted an ability like that. Over the 30 issues where Optimus was Prime, the Autobots often found themselves in dire circumstances that were just as bad as Alita and her team found themselves in, and Optimus was never able to summon anything. And going by the tone of the overall narrative of the comic, I doubt he ever was able to off-panel either. Now, one may argue that because the Matrix deemed Alita more worthy than Optimus and chose her as the new Prime, that maybe the Matrix decided that Optimus has been unworthy for quite a while, so it denied him its power. That may be the case, but I doubt he was unworthy all through the hundreds of years he was Prime. As far as I'm concerned, this is more lazy storytelling by Kirkman. It's just more mishandling of an idea that could be interesting and fun to the point that it's a bit irritating. I do admit that seeing Alita mowing down Decepticons with the Ghost of the Star Saber was a very cool scene, and some readers might just want awesome battles between the Autobots and Decepticons. And I'm all for that as well, but I also want a good story and sensical story progression and character development. So far, when it comes to Alita Prime, I'm not getting that. Hopefully the handling of Alpha Trion is handled much better. That will wrap up my breakdown and thoughts on issue 32 of the Energon Universe Transformers comic from Skybound. See you soon with the next transmission, and as always, thanks for docking.